Hello and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, the Honorable Chester Cooper, brought remarks at the University of the Bahamas' Student Government Association's induction ceremony, where he provided encouragement to pursue opportunities for growth outside of the classroom. The ceremony took place at the University of the Bahamas on August 26, 2025.
Universities are not only places of study. They are places of advocacy, places of hope, and places where leaders emerge. They are places where young people test the world as it is against the world as it could be. And today, right here at the University of the Bahamas, you are a part of that same tradition. So if you leave here only with a diploma, we have failed you. But if you leave here with courage, with conviction, and with a determination to lead, to shape this country, then you will have given back more than you ever received. I believe I recalled as a young man leaving university in Canada, writing in my yearbook, never before I've learned so much in such a short time. And then there was schoolwork. So you are here not just for the schoolwork. I'm delighted that you have recognized that you have an opportunity here to lead. When I was 5 years old, my father was killed by violence. He was the sole breadwinner of our family. His death changed and shaped who I am. I was the youngest of 12 children. And from that day, I knew loss, I knew struggle, I knew what it meant to live without the man who should have provided for me and guided me. Politics, of course, was never in my plans at that time. I'm a late bloomer, as they say in politics. But at that time, I thought only of survival. How to help my mother, how to keep food on the table, how to hold our family together. But in the middle of that hardship, something took root in me. A love of country, a belief that even when life feels unfair, even when the road is hard, there is still dignity in being Bahamian. And that love carried me. It carried me from Exuma to Nova Scotia, where I studied economics and finance. It carried me to Nova Southeastern University, where I earned an MBA. It carried me into the world of banking, into opportunities that took me even as far as Dublin, Ireland, and Luxembourg. And eventually it carried me into the boardroom. And at age 34, as the CEO of BF Financial and BAF Global Group, and as an entrepreneur and principal shareholder, my start got me there. But I dare say that the University of Bahamas was that institution that helped to mold this young boy who came from Forbes in Little Exuma and gave an introduction to the bright lights and the big world, as it were. And from there, the rest, they say, is history. From there, it carried me into politics, where I now stand as Deputy Prime Minister. And I tell you this story not to boast, but I tell you this because I did begin as a poor boy from Exuma with little more than faith and determination. If I could rise from that starting point, then I am confident that you can as well. So this induction today is a reminder that your peers believe in you, have given you an opportunity to lead, and have entrusted you with their voice. They believe in you, and they expect you to lead. And leadership is never about ease. It is not about being liked. It is not about being noticed. It is about responsibility. It is about service. And leadership means carrying the weight of others and their hopes and dreams, and sometimes even their aspirations, on your shoulders. It means sometimes standing alone. It means making decisions that may not be popular, but are necessary. It is heavy, but it is worth it because leadership is rooted in service. And when it is properly rooted in service, it changes lives. And so today, let me share with you that I am of the view that too many young Bahamians believe that they must leave our country to find success. They believe opportunity lives abroad. They believe that here at home, the space for their dreams is too small. But this is indeed sobering, and it is heartbreaking, because this is indeed your country. This is your home, and it must be a place where your dreams can grow.
The Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training provided the official results for the 2025 national examinations, highlighting the government's priority on education reforms and student success. The announcement took place at the ministry's headquarters on August 28, 2025.
The 2025 Bahamas Junior Certificate Examination Report. The year 2025 marks the 32nd sitting of the Bahamas Junior Certificate Examination since its reintroduction in 1994. 10,478 candidates from 123 centers were registered to sit the examination. 54 were government schools, while 69 centers were independent or private. The number of candidates represents a decrease of 2.94% when compared to 2024, which had a total of 10,795 candidates from a total of 127 centers. The total number of subjects offered is 13. The total number of grades awarded in 2025 was 37,220 when compared to 2024, which was 39,455 candidates. Again this year, mathematics and English language were the two most heavily subscribed subjects. An analysis of subject performance across the 2025 national examinations reveals that all assessed disciplines attained cumulative achievement rates of 50% or higher within grades A to D, indicating a baseline of academic proficiency across the board. Notably, subjects such as art, literature, craft, social studies, family and consumer science, and technical drawing demonstrated particularly strong outcomes, with a significant proportion of candidates achieving within the 80 to 100% range. English language and technical drawing exhibited measurable improvement relative to the previous year, while general science reflected a slight decline in performance. Core subjects including mathematics, religious studies, health science, which saw an improvement due to increases at B to D, French and Spanish maintained stable distributions predominantly within the 60 to 79% range. These results suggest a broadly consistent level of academic attainment. A comparative analysis of males and females, their performances across the 2024 and 2025 national examinations reveal slight declines in the A to B passes, but slight increases at grade C, suggesting a modest centralization of achievement. Notably, while female performance at grade D declined, male performance in this category improved, indicating a differential trend in mid-tier attainment. 300 3,392 students elected to sit 5 or more subjects in a single examination session. This represented 32.37%. Of that number, 1,316 candidates, or 38.80%, attained a minimum of grade C in at least 5 subjects, while 1,788 candidates, or 52.71%, achieved a minimum grade of D across the same threshold. Furthermore, 1,251 candidates, or 36.88%, achieved at least a grade C in the core subjects of mathematics, English language, and a science discipline.
Say a couple things, and to say that what we heard what is in fact a snapshot of performance, and clearly we learned from these results there are still areas that we have to work on in this in our student population, and the ministry is tracking, monitoring, and analyzing these national results, and we're also looking at global trends in similar exams, and we see some parallels. We know the pandemic had an impact. Students were locked out of face-to-face instruction for 2 years. The research globally shows learning loss, but what we are seeing in these results is resiliency, because our children are showing up, they're taking the examinations, and we are on the route to recovery. We're confident of this. We've implemented a number of strategies, particularly at the primary school level, to enhance student well-being, and interventions at the older students to cause for our young people and children to catch up. We put a focus on literacy and numeracy. Literacy and numeracy. We have completed a math study which has helped us to understand what alignments we have to do with our curriculum, with our materials, with the instruction. So we are now armed with empirical advice based on empirical evidence on what we need to do in terms of mathematics. We've revised the curricula. We have the first time in history for the first time in 40 years. Geography is being revised. We're putting a stronger focus on science, the technical studies, because these exams do not necessarily reflect the full blossom and strength of the talent of our young people. And so the Bahamas Polytechnic and Accreditation and Training Hub on Wolf Road, which is under construction, is going to be that space where young people can go and refine their skills in the technical studies. And we're bringing legitimacy and credit to technical studies because that's the way of the world. It's how the economy works. And so the ministry is seeking stronger relevance to our economy and to the way in which global realities are shifting.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, said that Carifesta is more than a festival, but a powerful platform for cultural diplomacy and regional unity. Your Government in Action spoke to Minister Fred Mitchell as he led the Bahamian delegation at Carifesta 15 in Barbados, a celebration of Caribbean art and culture.
We are at a very sensitive stage now in our relations with developed countries, particularly our neighbors to the north. And more than ever, we have to stress the unity of the positions of these small countries. Otherwise, we'll be marginalized in the global economy and excluded from many of its developments. And so it's especially important for us and our people to understand the ties and the nature of the ties we have as a people, both ethnically and culturally, that we're in this together and we have to act together. And part of that is to get people to understand through these kind of cultural experiences how similar we actually are. The exposure can obviously lead to commercial success for an artist. It was P.J. Patterson, the former Prime Minister of Jamaica, who came to the Bahamas for the Heads of Government Conference. And he made the point that governments need to start spending more in the development of what's now called the orange economy. So this means in sports and in cultural activities. He gave the example of Bob Marley's estate, which he said at the time was the third highest earning estate of royalties from music as a result of the talent of Bob Marley. I think the only people who exceeded him may have been the Beatles or Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley, but Bob Marley was there earning these royalties. And so this was something he said which could exist for other artists, and they can take their inspiration from it. So not only is it good for reasons of emotions and sentiment, but it has commercial possibilities. And I'm happy that people in Barbados are able to see this, and other people who are visiting from across the Caribbean are able also to experience this and spread the word about our two artists that are exhibited here.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. The Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting announced the expansion of its Empowerment Hour program to the Fox Hill Community Center, as well as a partnership with the Good News Seventh-day Adventist Church. The announcement took place at a press conference held at the ministry's headquarters on August 29, 2025.
The International Day of Family Symposium and launch of the Heartbeat Show, held on May 15, 2024, sparked a revitalization of the Community Affairs Division in my ministry. These events set the course to advance the mission to address some of the social ills impacting our communities. It includes bridging the gap between silos among our helping professions and bringing organizations together to pool their resources, all with the end goal of strengthening families and communities throughout the Bahamas. In July of 2024, the Community Affairs Division, led by Chief Probation Officer Mrs. Lisa E. Boleg, coordinated and developed the services offered by our collaborators. This one-stop shop concept allowed us to directly present needed services to people within their respective communities. Hence, the development of the Empowerment Hour program in September of 2024. This program cuts across the generational and gender divide, as it is designed for people of all ages, genders, and abilities. The components of this program include the Homework Hour, homework and small project assistance for primary school students, the I Have the Power Hour for high school students, Free Your Mind Fridays, social outlet for kids from 5 to 17 years old. Dr. Monka, I don't know if Boleg worked that in collaboration with you. Being from the mother church, I don't know the hours on Friday which that's going to be held.
We'll be next door.
Continuing Education Hour for persons sitting BJC and BGCSE exams, Camp Climate Action, bringing awareness to children about climate change, Daytime Hour of Power for persons aged out of school. This is a 12-week session and includes American Sign Language for beginners, backyard farming, career planning, culinary arts, dress for success, entrepreneurial skills, know your rights, living well healthy lifestyles, men's only club, sewing club, women's only club, you and your empowerment, and you and your mental health. The Empowerment Hour program focuses on equality, equity, and wellness instead of illness, capabilities instead of shortfalls, strengths instead of weaknesses, and inclusion instead of exclusion. The program also aimed to promote social and economic empowerment while reducing mental health issues caused by traumatic events resulting in social isolation and withdrawal among vulnerable groups. It is backpack ready, meaning it can be transported and customized to meet the specific needs of residents in any community across our archipelago. Since its development, we have been able to successfully implement this program into Flamingo Gardens community and daytime hour of power segment into the Nassau Village community. Hundreds of children, youth, and adults of all abilities have benefited from the program, which is not at cost to anyone or their loved ones. Additionally, we have collaborated with almost 100 organizations, businesses, and private citizens to successfully execute the Empowerment Hour program. This devoted and caring group of people has given their time, talents, and in some cases treasures and other resources to ensure that families and communities are strengthened and empowered.
As thousands of students prepare to return to classrooms across the country, Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glenys Hanna Martin, delivered a national back-to-school address on August 31st, 2025, outlining the government's sweeping reforms in education. The minister reflected on the nation's progress since the pandemic and reaffirmed her ministry's commitment to ensuring that every Bahamian child has the support and opportunity to succeed.
As we prepare to welcome our students back to classrooms across this beautiful archipelago, we note the profound human story unfolding in our schools. It is a story of resilience. When this administration assumed office in September 2021, we inherited the immense challenge of over 40,000 children who had been absent from in-person learning for nearly 2 years, many of whom had dropped out of formal learning. Even with the persistent threat of COVID-19 to physical health, the global research was unequivocal. Our children needed to return to face-to-face instruction immediately. By January 2022, less than 90 days after taking office, we resumed in-person learning, but the empty desks told a different story. In some instances, fewer than half our children had returned, and so we launched what we called Find Every Child. Teachers, support staff, community organizations, administrators, union members, and concerned citizens took to the streets. We knocked on doors, walked through communities, and met face-to-face with families. In one community alone, a single walkabout identified 60 children who had simply disappeared from our educational radar. Through Find Every Child, we made a concerted effort to show up for them. Today, because of our relentless efforts, we achieved a 93% attendance rate, which is in line with the highest attendance rates in the history of public education in the Bahamas. But bringing children back was only the beginning. Once students were back in school, the ministry undertook standardized testing of approximately 40,000 students from pre-primary to grade 12 to understand the impact of the 2 years in isolation. We took immediate action to address the intense levels of learning loss. Our curriculum changes focused on literacy and numeracy skills during the foundational years from grades 1 to 3. We also modified course loads to meet children where they are, while we embark on a more comprehensive review of the curriculum for greater diversity and relevancy. And we introduced academic success coaches who work simultaneously with high-performing students and those who need additional support. For the first time in 40 years, we've revised our history curriculum, accompanied by the first ever Bahamian history text, written by Bahamians for Bahamian students. Our children will no longer learn their story through foreign lenses, but will see themselves reflected in the story of this nation. We're revamping language arts instruction to emphasize foundational skills while celebrating the linguistic richness of our culture, including Bahamian dialect. Our goal is for every child leaving school to be literate. Likewise, after a comprehensive year-long research project, We are reforming mathematics instruction with a clear goal for every student to achieve proficiency. The curriculum reform now in train is also mainstreaming technical and vocational studies, beginning at the primary school level and throughout high school. With the support of the Chamber of Commerce, students will be exposed to subjects such as carpentry, electrical engineering, plumbing, hospitality, and many more. For high schoolers, the establishment of the Bahamas Polytechnic Accreditation and Training Hub, BPATH, represents the first institute of its kind, preparing to equip hundreds of high school students with industry accreditations in HVAC, advanced mechanics, carpentry, information technology, maritime studies, solar energy, and other in-demand fields. At the tertiary level, BTVI has expanded its reach to newly established campuses in Eleuthera, Exuma, and Abaco, in addition to New Providence and Grand Bahama. As a part of our reforms, our special needs students are receiving priority attention, with 16 special education teachers earning master's degree in the past year. Additionally, teachers throughout the system were trained to identify early signs of any learning disabilities of students in their classrooms and direct for appropriate support. This year, we will see a more aggressive push in our schools for healthy lifestyles. High sugar and salt content foods will not be permitted in the tuck shops, and awareness campaigns will be rolled out for our students, informing them of how their choices impact physical and mental health. The National School Breakfast Program, first initiated 3 years ago as a pilot program in a few schools, will now roll out in every public pre-primary, primary, and all-age schools in our country. To empower and nourish the creative spirits of our young people, this year, our first ever creative and performing arts school, CAPUS, is coming online. Additionally, this September, we expect to see in both primary and junior high schools new standards for the teaching of the performing arts. This will be a beautiful sight to see.
Your Government in Action got a chance to speak to Bahamian author and Assistant Director of Culture Portia Sands, who is using storytelling to inspire young readers at Carifesta 15. As a part of a regional reading initiative at Carifesta, Portia Sands is sharing Bahamian stories to a wider Caribbean audience.
It's wonderful to be here at Carifesta, just to network with our sister countries, to see what it is that we have in common, to celebrate our differences, and to learn from each other. I am a storyteller and an author, so of course this is a wonderful experience for me, and it's even more so wonderful because you get to submit some of your material for other people to enjoy. So this is really, really fantastic. It's a motivational experience. It wants you to write more, to write better, and to share what you have to the world, with the world. You know, we could engrave our culture and our history in words. And so I think we underestimate the power of words when it comes to securing our culture. If we could put our culture in print, it will be with us forever.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Tuesday evenings, where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.